Okay, so I want to bring a few things in to my scene now to show you how to import stuff. You see I put a marker here, kind of going by that last thing we were talking about with measuring stuff. There are measuring tools you can use in Maya, but that supposes that you have started out building things in a consistent way from the beginning. So they may or may not be useful for you. We don't really treat this as a CAD program where you're building things dimensionally. So I just find this sort of manufacturing my own measurement tools useful. You may or may not. So anyway, here we go. So to bring something in, I'm going to go File, Import, and I've got some stuff here. I think some sawhorses I wanted to bring in. I think we got this stuff for set. Yeah, this is my stuff. And so here's my Maya file. Okay, and this is the kind of stuff you're going to be bringing in. And I'm just going to click import after I select it, and then click continue here. And you'll see they're kind of huge. Okay, so again, this is why, this is a group that I've got. This is why you want to have some standard in order to get this stuff to look right in your room. And if you just wing it, say, I don't know, that looks about right. Well, no, not really. Sawhorses tend to be around 32 inches high. So if I use this as my guide, and again, you don't need to go crazy with this measuring thing, but you just want to get something close so that things don't look wacky. Because there's nothing that kills a scene faster in terms of believability than if things are out of scale. Okay? So there's my 32-inch high sawhorses here. You'll see it's a pretty big hunk of stuff. Okay? So I'm just going to stick these over here. And again, I made these at some other point in time. Like that. Okay? So, and this is a case too where I might want to decide that, okay, this window, maybe it's too low on the wall. You can literally just grab the different edges on the window and drag the whole thing up in Y to change that. You could scale it as well. Maybe I want to make my room longer, wider, all those kind of things you're going to have to decide once you start bringing things in. Okay, because you really won't know how things start to look until you see the different pieces that you have to work with. Okay. Okay, so the other thing I want to do here is add some lights. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just throw a Skydome in so we can at least see what's what. Okay. And I'll just pull up the Arnold render view here and we can take a peek here. This is where we're at. Okay. So Skydomes by default are pretty noisy. Okay, they only have a limited sample setting. It's usually set to 1, so they render quickly. And they do tend to overwhelm things a bit. Okay, oh look, I have a plywood texture on there, cool. But it's fine for working while you're just trying to see how things look. That works just fine. You can also just turn them way down so that you don't have a whole lot of stuff to mess with. You want to turn the intensity on that down. Is what I would do personally is add a couple of area lights in this too. So if I'm pretending this is a perfect garage, which it doesn't look like at all right now because there's nothing in there, and we all know garages are a mess. So I'm going to stick a couple area lights in here. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Trying to kind of simulate the look of shop lights. Okay, so I'm just going to point this down like that, and as usual I always start in the direction and then I actually fine-tune it in the channel box. Okay, and I'm just going to scale that out so it looks kind of like that. Okay, go to my attribute editor here and take a look at this, what this starts to do. And again, the first time you use these guys, not much happens because you haven't changed my exposure or my intensity. As I start to do that, I can start to see some more light coming into my scene. And at this point, I'll probably just hide the Skydome light, because I don't want that to interfere too much. That's Control H. And this way I can actually see what's going on. This is interesting. With my actual light in here. Okay. So if I pump this up to about 5, there we go. So I'm starting to get a little bit of a real, a little bit more logical look at what this thing is doing. Okay, move that up here a bit. Start to see it reflected on the walls. And then I'm just going to duplicate it and move it over. So I effectively have 2 lights now, once I've set one up, rather than one. Okay? And at this point then I could turn my Skydome back on and really turn it way down so that I don't have a lot of other stuff happening with it. The key command is not happy. I'm going to do it this way. Show last hidden. It's not working either. All right, last stitch, you can always go over here and turn visibility on. And then that'll get it back too. Okay, so now it's looking more like a perfect showroom or something like that. So again, I want to turn that way down to give it less importance. Okay, but it does break up the shadows a little bit, which is nice. The other thing you can do with a Skydome is you can put an image on it. So if I click on color here, this, and put a file in, and I've got a HDR image. I think I talked about these at one point. I can stick that on there. And then if I go back here and increase the intensity a bit, I'll start to see that showing up outside my window, okay, like so. And then I can also use something called a light portal, which focuses that Skydome instead of being in this whole area and coming in from the outside where we deleted the walls. It's also going to, it's going to focus the light exactly where we want it. So this thing looks a lot like an area light, but as soon as you put it in, it links itself to the Skydome. And what you want to do here is you want to put it in the window that you want it to affect, outside the window I should say, and you scale it to fit that window, more or less. It doesn't really matter if it can go a little bit larger than you think, that's okay. But you'll see it immediately starts to diminish this other light coming in from the outside. So what it's really doing is it is taking the light and it's only letting that Skydome affect the area enclosed by this portal. And it points it in the direction of that little line, just like it would an area light. So if I turn this on again and render that, you'll see how now I don't have that giant blowout from the Skydome. The area lights are affecting it that I put above, but it is also now focusing this light through here, which is pretty nice. Okay, and it's a nice way because those HDR images, combining a light portal with a Skydome, actually give you light that is very realistic since it's actually based on the image going on in here. Okay, and that's it.